Chapter 3, Knobbles. Every afternoon after school, Sandy called in to see if Blackberry was growing properly. She brought ribbons for him to play with and a red rubber ball. She made shadow puppets on the wall with her hands and taught him how to chase them. Miss Berry had given him several balls of wool that were soon wound around all of the chair and table legs in intricate patterns. And she had bought him a little cat basket. But although his basket looked so sweet, with a bow over the top and a frilly blanket inside, he preferred the chairs or their knees, or to sit on Miss Berry's slipper while she watched the news on TV. Sometimes Sandy would run to the shop for some cat food or fresh scraps from the butcher or a nice kidney. And Miss Berry, as Miss Berry put it, Sandy didn't like asking for that. "I wonder what happened to the others," said Sandy one day as she fondled the kitten. "What others?" said Miss Berry. "Cats never have just one kitten." Miss Berry said nothing at the time, but she brooded about it. And unconsciously, when she went out with the milk and bottles at night, she was listening for meows. She took to going for a short walk in the park after supper when the street was quiet and she could listen better. The first week she heard nothing, but during the second week, an elderly tabby with bumps on its head rubbed against her legs. She knelt to pat it, half afraid of what she would find. As she had thought, all ribs. The cat was starving. When she walked back home to the cat followed her through the picket gate, followed her up the path, and meowed at the shut door of the house. Miss Berry listened in the hall. She thought of how happy she was with just Blackberry, and how this cat might give him some disease. But it had looked so frail and ill in the half light, and she opened the door and let it in. After school the next day, Miss Berry and Sandy took Knobbles to the vet. "That has to be his name," said Sandy, "because of the knobbly bumps on his head." Sandy liked going to the vet's. She had sometimes been there with her own cat, Napoleon, and once she had the canary, Sunshine, who had suddenly died after a hot spell when her father still lived with them. He had helped her bury the canary under the pink flowering plum. There was a clean smell at the vet's and a pretty garden, and you never knew what pets you would see. Often it was just dogs and cats, but sometimes you would get a bird, a parrot, or a cockatoo, or even a magpie, or a lizard, or a turtle, and once there was a Kangaroo Island kangaroo. But today it was just all German shepherds, except for one other cat, a Siamese. Miss Berry cradled her old cat in a clean towel with frayed edges in a color that had once been pink. Knobble's sparse hair clung to his skeleton of a body. His tail hung limp and skinny over her arm. Sandy could see the Siamese owner giving them looks. "Fancy letting that cat get into such a state," the looks seemed to be saying. Or perhaps, and even worse, "Fancy bringing that mangy old cat like that to our vet." The vet patted him and felt him all over. He didn't seem to mind the bumps. "Quite an old cat," he said in his quiet voice. "He'll need a vitamin supplement from now on, possibly hormone tablets, and I'll have to fix up his teeth. Quite an expense," he warned. "And he is, as I said, quite an elderly cat." "A stray?" "Yes," said Miss Berry, "and well worth the fixing," and she patted all the bumps on Knobbles' head. After a week or two of pills and fresh meat, Knobbles' coat started to shine. "He looks almost pretty," said Sandy encouragingly. He was certainly a friendly cat and nice with Blackberry. They often lay together during the day, if it was cold or wet, on Miss Berry's soft patchwork quilt.